Greetings, my friends. This will be a day, I believe, that will live in infamy because it appears that the technocracy coup d'etat is happening right before our eyes right now. Amazing. I have been doing some additional research on all of the technocrats who have been swarming around the president and the administration. And it's very disturbing picture. I have two stories here I need to go over with you. Together, they paint a very disturbing view as to what's going on right now. And I have to say this: if you have not read any of my books, how about the first one, Technocracy Rising? If you've never seen that book, now's the time to get it. That's the Trojan horse of global transformation. And the next book you need to get your hands on is this one here, Technocracy, The Hard Road to World Order. Indeed, it's a hard road. And lastly, my last book is The Evil Twins of Technocracy and Transhumanism. Scary title, scary picture. If you can't really get your hands around what's going on today, it's all laid out in my books from A to Z. And what we see here, in any case, is this group of people who have apparently taken over our government. And all the president's men. Well, I got this article mostly from an AI program called Perplexity. It's an advanced service that combines multiple different models of AI. And I created a prompt. I wanted to have some specific information, but this platform, Perplexity, is basically like an advanced search engine that can go out into the internet and get tons and tons of stuff, bring it all together in a heartbeat, and then make sense out of it. Well, it is artificial intelligence. Okay, get over it for just a minute. This would have taken me probably 2 weeks to try and find all these articles that were out there on the internet. So this kind of accelerated my research here. However, here's my prompt that I put into this system. List all the people who are from the tech sector and who are considered technocrats and who have been appointed by Donald Trump in 2025. Include informal advisors like Mark Andreessen, Peter Thiel, and anybody who has been mentored by Thiel or who was a member of the PayPal mafia. Are there any shared objectives by these technocrats? That was the prompt. I'm going to show you what it concluded. So, number one, full disclosure, this article was written by Perplexity. However, I reviewed all of the facts in it, and I couldn't find anything that was off base at all. Here's what is said at the end. As these technocrats consolidate power, the long-term implications for regulatory integrity and public trust in governance remain deeply uncertain. That's right. The analysis concludes their shared objectives. Now, this is important because these people apparently are operating as a pack. Not individual people, but as a pack. the technocrats are operating as a pack. This was basically what happened in 1932 as well. But they're working together for a common objective, and it's not our objectives. The conclusion is their shared objectives: AI supremacy, cryptocurrency normalization, and federal privatization underscore a broader ideological shift towards technocratic authoritarianism, where technological innovation is framed as an existential imperative beyond democratic accountability. Let that sink in. This is not what the populist movement ever wanted in the first place. But okay, we need to read the article. We have all these people here, the formal appointments now. And by the way, this is not about Trump. I'm glad that Trump is doing some good things on one hand. But these technocrats, that's a separate issue. Yes, the president has invited them en masse, but that's another issue. That's a political issue at this point. And so don't bash, or don't think I'm bashing Trump just to bash Trump. I'm not at all. I voted for him in the first place, and I'm glad for some of the things he's doing, like closing the border. And of course, everybody wants to see the waste and the corruption and our government eradicated. But this is not the way to do it. I've said this many times. So here are all the formal appointments. Michael Kratsius, Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Just consider all these, where these people are being put in the first place. David Sachs, a White House AI and crypto czar. Sachs was one of the original members of the PayPal mafia. Sirim Krishnan, Senior AI Policy Advisor. This guy is a venture capitalist at Andreessen Horowitz. We'll see Andreessen below. Bo Hines, Executive Director of the Presidential Council of Advisors for Digital Assets. That would be us, wouldn't it? Elon Musk, of course, and Ramaswamy. The informal power and brokers here, certainly Peter Thiel. He's the architect of the technocratic pipeline. That's what AI said who he was, right? He's the architect of the technocratic pipeline, and he is. He's also the guy that brought Peter Thiel to the stage. Mark Andreessen, venture capitalist and policy influencer. Andreessen, by the way, was a co-author of a nutcake publication called Techno-Optimist Manifesto. He was a president. He was at the table with the president to suggest all these appointments in the first place. He didn't want an appointment himself, but he was there as an advisor. Joe Lonsdale, Palantir co-founder and GOP mega donor. Yes, indeed. And so here's the PayPal Mafia network from Silicon Valley to Washington. Core members, here you are. Ken Howry, by the way, is the ambassador to Denmark. That's interesting. He was a co-founder of Thiel Capital. Some of the people that Thiel has mentored, J.D. Vance, vice president, of course. Blake Masters from Arizona. He lost his Senate bid fortunately. But nevertheless, we see the NIH director, advocate for AI-driven healthcare privatization. Yeah, we've been talking about the destruction of the healthcare system. It's all going AI at this point. It's going to be completely taken over by AI. Now, about the shared objectives here of this technocratic coalition. By the way, this was the headline that the AI gave to this section here: the shared objectives of the technocratic coalition. That's what it is. It's not has nothing to do with the constitutional republic. Has nothing to do with democracy in general. It's just a technocratic cabal with an intent to take over the government at this point. Okay, so you see the cohort uniformly seeks to dismantle federal oversight, exemplified by Executive Order 14110, revocation of and SEC Chair Paul Atkins' pledge to reduce enforcement actions. There's a dismantling of the regulatory apparatus in the government to basically let all these technocrats run free with no checks and balances. This is not what we want. We want certain regulations certainly to be killed, but at this point, what these people are suggesting is, well, we don't need any regulation whatsoever, and you need to get all the other regulations out of the way so we can put our AI in place and basically take everything over. This is absolutely incredible. So now it talks about AI dominance and unbiased systems. Forget being unbiased for sure. AI dominance is on this is what this whole thing is about, is basically AI is going to take over everything if it could. Okay, cryptocurrency as a fiscal paradigm. What? Well, in the first Trump administration, he didn't like crypto at all and said, no, we're not going to do that. But now it's flip-flopped, and now crypto has come in, and all of a sudden, you see people like Howard Lutnick, who is head of the Commerce Department now. He's promoting using stable coins. That's a form of crypto, a class of crypto products in trade. And the president, by the way, has signed an executive order that forbids the Fed from issuing central bank digital currencies. You check it out. The Fed is out of business right now as far as the central bank digital currencies are concerned. So what's going to take its place? Does that mean we're not going to have a digital currency in the future? No, it doesn't mean that at all. Now they're basically, here's the new private iteration of cryptocurrency that apparently is going to be the meme that they want to put in place to track all the transactions in the world. Well, at least in America, probably in the world as well. Institutional dismantling and personnel overhauls. You'll see how this fits into this next article in just a second. Project 2025 influence is evidence in place in plans to replace career civil servants with political appointees. You'll see in just a minute. Now, here's the conclusion. I didn't touch this conclusion, by the way. This was very evident, I think, by all the information that it accumulated. This is what it said. The Trump 2025 Trump administration represents a watershed moment in Silicon Valley's political entrenchment. Through formal appointments and informal networks, the PayPal mafia and its allies have institutionalized a deregulatory agenda that conflates corporate profit with national interest. Their shared objectives, AI supremacy, cryptocurrency normalization, and federal privatization, underscore a broader ideological shift towards technocratic authoritarianism, where technological innovation is framed as an existential imperative beyond democratic accountability. As these technocrats consolidate power, the long-term implications for regulatory integrity and public trust and governance remain deeply uncertain. You think? Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so we see now that this is my opinion for sure. I don't think anybody ever has suggested this at this point, but I will suggest it right now. We're seeing that the Great Reset take place right now, as Trump is steering this technocratic cabal to destroy what is thought of as the deep state or the swamp or whatever it was he was going to drain before. This creature, that's the old, representing the old way. This is going to be completely dismantled at this point, and the new system is going to be put in its place. This is the Great Reset. This is exactly what Klaus Schwab was talking about in his book. I reviewed that earlier, some months ago for sure. But this is exactly the scenario that Schwab and the World Economic Forum were saying. Okay, so get a picture here. What's going on? The Great Reset is on us right now. And what's going to happen after this, the post-industrial revolution or whatever, after the Great Reset, it's going to be technocracy. Pure and simple. I've always said this. I said this from the beginning. That was the objective of these people, that they want to destroy the existing system and bring in technocracy as a form of governance, not government, governance, to basically dominate everything. It's on us right now. It's happening right now. That is really disturbing. It's surreal to me, having written about this stuff for at least 15 years now, and longer than that with the Trilateral Commission before. It's surreal to see it happen now in real time. America needs to be on guard. We need to throw these people out of office. We need to get rid of them altogether. They do not belong in our system. They're parasites at this point. They're anti-democratic. They're anti-constitution. They're anti-human. they're anti-populist. These people have no business being involved in the populist movement because they're using it to advance their own objectives, which are not ours. Not at all. So the next article, oh boy, Curtis Yarvin, a philosopher. He thinks he's a philosopher. I suppose he is. Not a good one, in my opinion. But this is the Pied Piper behind all of these tech bros and their intended destruction of America. Oh yes, there's a leader behind this whole thing, a thought leader. This should not surprise you, I suppose, but it surprises me because I didn't really understand Curtis Yarvin originally. Even 2 months ago, I knew his name. I looked at some of the stuff he'd written, but I didn't think he was substantial. So now I had to ask the question: okay, who is this guy, and what influence does he have on all the people that we just talked about in the last article. Yeah. Well, I wrote here, disclosure, perplexity AI strikes again. I did a deep dive into the mind of philosopher Curtis Yarvin and inquired into his following in Silicon Valley. That was a fair question because he's from Silicon Valley himself. He was a programmer. He founded a company years ago. He's made a lot of money, but he considers himself to be a philosopher, and he's emerged all of a sudden, well, over the years, he's emerged as Silicon Valley's philosopher. Peter Thiel picked up on that. He loved this guy. However, this is huge. It's radical. It's stealth. It's anti-American. And it's anti-human as well. Here's what this article concludes. By framing democracy as obsolete and technocratic authoritarianism as inevitable, figures like Thiel, Musk, Karp are constructing a new order where corporate sovereignty supersedes civic participation. You get a handle of what's going on here. This is the thought leader. This is the guy who's brought all these thoughts together about how to go forward from here. Okay, so just need to read this article word for word, I'm afraid. But Yarvin calls the administrative state, that's kind of the beast, the deep state, the swamp, whatever we want to call it. He calls it the cathedral. The cathedral. That's an odd term, but nevertheless, that's what he calls it. And basically, he wants to destroy that, and that represents democracy, of course, and our constitutional republic. And he wants to supplant it with a corporate-like structure with a monarch calling the shots. That's right. Okay, let's go. Yarvin's neo-cameralism is a system originally proposed by him and inspired by Prussian cameralism, in which, get it, in which a state is a business which owns a country. Well, continue. This is a direct quote from Yarvin and something he wrote some time ago, but this is still his position. He wrote, every patch of land on the planet has a primary owner, which is its SovCorp. Now, a SovCorp, as he says here, they're sovereign corporations. Typically, these owners will be large, impersonal corporations. We call them SovCorps because they're sovereign. You are sovereign if you have the power to render any plausible attack on your primary property by any other sovereign power unprofitable. So this basically, he's rearranging the structure of the world to not have nation states, no, but now have sovereign corporations who own states as their pet projects or whatever, and they control the state from top to bottom using AI and scientific dictatorship. This is kind of an interesting twist, and it's totally in line with technocracy. But the run-of-the-mill populace in America has no idea what's going on, my friends. They don't have a clue. We've been hoodwinked. We've been flim-flammed. What's another word that I could use, a phrase? They're crazy. Curtis Yarvin, the tech bro philosopher known by his pseudonym Mencius Moldbug, has emerged as a pivotal intellectual force shaping the intellectual contours of Silicon Valley's power elite. His critiques of democracy, advocacy for technocratic authoritarianism, and vision of a corporate-led monarchy have resonated with influential people like Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Elon Musk, David Sachs, Mark Andreessen, and TechBros in general. This report examines how his ideas have permeated Silicon Valley's corporate strategies, political alliances, and broader social technical visions, transforming the region into a laboratory, and the country now, into a laboratory for post-democratic governance. Can you see beyond the Great Reset here where we're going? Post-democracy, post-republic, post-whatever. That's the Great Reset. When you get past what was and you implement what's coming, that's what this is all about. Wow. This article is just stunning. I'm not going to go on the whole thing, but there's a this is interesting. There's a video here. I won't play it right now. You have to listen to this guy. He's absolutely off the wall, in my opinion. But he's caught the ear and the eye of so many people in Silicon Valley and the populist movement now. He's been wildly influential. Here he is in this video talking to Charlie Kirk on on Real America's Voice. Go figure. But nevertheless, Charlie didn't burn him. He should have. He should have thrown him out with the bathwater. But in any case, here's the section titled, again, this is perplexity.ai making these headlines, not my headlines. It's its headlines. Silicon Valley's embrace. Well, Peter Thiel, the patron of post-democracy. Yeah, okay. Peter Thiel, we know who he is, right? He's been Yarvin's most influential patron, funding the startup Thielon and integrating neo-reactionary ideas into Silicon Valley's ethos. Thiel's 2009 assertion that freedom and democracy are incompatible mirrors Yarvin's anti-egalitarian worldview, framing technocracy as the antidote to democratic chaos. Oh, yeah. Alex Karp. Data as a tool of sovereignty. Elon Musk, the CEO, as monarch. Elon Musk would like to have that title, I'm sure. David Sachs and Mark Andreessen. Libertarianism's authoritarian turn. Oh, boy. Political and cultural ramifications. I tell you, Yarvin has had a huge influence on the whole movement. J.D. Vance's ascent to the vice presidency underscores Yarvin's influence on national politics now. Vance's 2022 Senate campaign bankrolled by Thiel, explicitly endorsed Rage, R-A-G-E, vowing to fire every mid-level bureaucrat and defy judicial restraints. That's a direct application of Yarvin's playbook. Silicon Valley's nerd Reich. That's clever. Critics warn, I had to look this up independently to see what it really is a thing. Some critics are calling it the nerd Reich, not Third Reich, but the nerd Reich. Critics warn that Yarvin's ideology has birthed a nerd Reich, a coalition of tech oligarchs seeking to replace democratic governance with algorithmic control. This movement merges Thiel's neo-reactionary politics, Musk's industrial autocracy, and Karp's surveillance system, framing Silicon Valley as the vanguard of a post-liberal order. Indeed, great reset. The convergence of venture capital and far-right politics, exemplified by Trump's Silicon Valley donor base, they gave a lot of money this election, signals a broader realignment of tech capital towards authoritarianism. Critiques and contradictions. Conclusion. This is important. Curtis Yarvin's philosophy has provided Silicon Valley's elite with an intellectual framework to rationalize their growing political power. By framing democracy as obsolete, and this isn't this what the message is coming out from all these people, the TechBros that are in the government right now? They say basically saying that it's over, folks. We can never ever go back to normal, whatever normal was before. We can't go back there again because the thing will get corrupted again and we'll be right back where we are right now. So basically they're saying, well, it's over. Democracy, forget it. It's not going to work. So they're framing democracy as obsolete and technocratic authoritarianism is inevitable. Figures like Thiel, Musk, Karp are constructing a new order. Get that phase, a new order where corporate sovereignty supersedes civic participation. That's politics, folks, where civil discourse is supposed to take place. However, when anybody stands up and say they have the data, they have the solution, they have the definitive solution, and they have the science on their side, whatever it is, when a group who could stand up and say such a thing, basically, what's to discuss? You don't need to have debates. You don't need to have discussion over this policy, that policy, whether it's going to be good or in the end, and what happens if it goes too far. No. We don't need any of those political discussions anymore. That's the heartbeat of technocracy, folks. It has been that way from the beginning in 1932. There is no room for dissent at all. No public discussion. And by the way, I'll remind you this: the technocrats in 1934, when they started their organization, Technocracy Inc., you had to pay dues to belong to the organization. By the way, you got a card, and it identified you as a technocrat. Go figure, but that's the way it was. So it was a membership organization. Do you know who could not be a member of the Technocracy Inc.? No politician. They would not allow any politician to join their organization. Period. Just excluded them. Say, you people, you're useless. We don't want any part of you. Another group that they excluded, by the way, was all the communists and Marxists of that day. They didn't want them either. That the communists hated the technocrats for other reasons. But nevertheless, the technocrats would not let them join their organization. By the way, you see this antipathy right now from these technocrats in this era. They've swept in now, and basically they're dismantling everything that we would see as a cultural Marxism. It's out right now. It's on the way out because these people are going to shove it out, basically, and technocracy is going to take over. There's no room for There's no room for socialism. There's no room for Marxism or communism at this point. They're all going to be thrown under the bus. And the last group that's going to be thrown under the bus, by the way, are the politicians themselves. I hate to say that, but this is where it's headed. You know, the technocrats in 1932, they wanted FDR to declare himself dictator so that he could just get rid of Congress altogether and just appoint technocrats top to bottom to run our country. That's what they wanted to do. This is just as radical as that. But now they figured out, well, they can use the political structure to get the leverage to get hold of everything else. Really, folks, we're in big trouble here. We need to face the music, I'm afraid. I'm probably the only person in the world who really has brought technocracy to the table in the first place to discuss it. I've been discussing doing that now for 15 years. My first book came out over 10 years ago. That was that was this one right here, Technocracy Rising, and I laid it all out exactly. I laid it out, said exactly what had to happen, and how it's going to happen, and now it's upon us. And isn't it interesting? It's not we're not being led into this by a Democrat left wing whatever administration. This will be riding in on the back of a conservative administration. The technocrats, they have said for so many years. We observed this since 1973. They don't care who is in power. They'll use that entity, whatever it is, liberal or otherwise, conservative. They'll use anything they can get their hands on to achieve their objectives.